When I was a kid growing up, I used to love being out in the snow, playing in it, having snowball fights, building snowmen, whatever. Now, as any kid can tell you, there are two ways to build a snowman. You can grab handfuls of snow, build him from the ground up like a nincompoop, or you can roll a small snowball around the yard and before you know it, voila, snow torso, then lather, rinse, repeat, and add 2 sticks and a carrot. Dave Ramsey's philosophy of the debt snowball works on the same principle. You can try to eliminate your debt handfuls at a time, or you can allow your debt payments to snowball and you can beat your debt down like that pleated high water wearing clarinet player after gym class. Here's how it works. Step 1 is to find $200 in your budget that isn't designated for anything. How will you find $200? That's entirely up to you. Sell something, sell anything you don't need, like your weightlifting set or your Monogram Polydine Diabetes Baking Kit. Maybe you need to eliminate your cable TV, dining out, or your $4.50 a day morning dose of price gouging, disappointingly tasteless caffeine. Now that you have that, your next step is to list all your debts in increasing order of how much you owe. In this example, we have $450 owed to Lowe's for the new grill that you just had to have. $650 for Target for your shoes, your belt, and your purse, the essential matching set, and your flat screen TV. Then there's a $1,600 you owe to your parents for that time your transmission went out on your sweet vintage 98 Accord, and so on. Make a list of all the debts you have, lowest to highest. The next step is where the snowball starts. We're going to pay the minimum payment on all the debts, for now, except the one with the smallest balance. For the Lowe's card, we'll pay the minimum payment of $50 plus the $200 that we found. So guess what? After 2 months of paying $250, your Lowe's debt is gone. Next, we'll take that $250 you were paying Lowe's and snowball into the minimum payment of your Target card. So now we are paying $280 a month, and after a couple more months, just like magic, your Target card is paid off. You continue this process each time, snowballing your old payments into your new payments like Buddy the Elf. And before long, all your debts are gone. Now, an important thing to note is that during this process, you have to keep the snowball rolling for it to work. So no matter how much you love that new Urban Outfitters overpriced dress, or the toolbox, or that new TV to replace the one you smashed in a fit of anger after stupid Kobe missed that stupid game-winning free throw after, oh my goodness, why do the Lakers suck so bad this year? You have to wait. The debt snowball is the fastest, most effective way to tackle a lot of debt and pay it off quickly. Using the examples we had, if you were to pay the minimum balance on all the loans you had, it would take you 120 months before the debt was paid. That is 10 years. 10 years of playing Jean Valjean to the bank's Inspector Javert. But if you use the debt snowball, you can have all these debts paid off in just 21 months. That's less than 2 years. That's 99 more months of freedom. And additionally, if you take that $1,100 that you were snowballing and invest it at 8% interest for those 99 months, you'd have $153,000. So let's do this like Pastor used to do. Take the debt, roll it up, and smoke it.
See, 7 years ago, we got married, and we spent the first 6 months combining our finances and kind of getting ourselves organized. And by the end of that year, we found ourselves about $50,000 in debt, just from student loans and wedding and honeymoon, and my car broke a month before the wedding, and different things added up.
You know, sometimes when you find yourself in those places, it feels like, wow, we're gonna be here forever. Are we ever gonna get out of this? Is our situation ever going to change? And so that's what I felt for a couple of years. And so that's why when Financial Peace class came around, we're looking for anything that would help us think differently about the situation.
Probably the biggest thing we took away was just to attack our debt aggressively and stop putting our money to different savings and different things we were trying to accomplish, and just pull it all and put it towards debt and just get rid of it quickly. So within about 1.5 years, 2 years, we were completely debt-free.
Once we paid off debt, our debt, actually, we're debt-free. We started building our savings. And then we actually did have a situation where the Lord told us, hey, you need to give half your savings away. And at that point, it wasn't that much, but for us, it was 50% of our savings. And so we made the decision like, hey, let's do it. Let's give away half our savings to this neighbor, actually, one of our neighbors that was in a bit of a crisis. And that was just a reminder, hey, whether we have a lot or a little, like, everything belongs to the Lord. Through the last 7 years, we always gave 10% of our salary to different things God has called us to, and so we always tied the 10%, whether we had a lot of debt or zero debt, we gave that 10%. But I would say in the last couple of years, I think through seeing what's happened with through the generosity of other people towards us, we're missionaries to the college campus. We've begun to try to be more creative of like, hey, how can we be generous to those around us?
Throughout our financial journey, when maybe we didn't have a lot or we lived in a studio, I always wanted our mindset to be whatever we have, we want to just use it and not wait till we have more. So sometimes I think, if we had a bigger house, we could have more people over, or then we could have the play dates at our house. But I think, no, let's do it now. Let's use what we have right now. And if we're not going to do it now, we're not going to do it when we have more, or we have a bigger house. So I think that says a lot about just be a steward of what you currently have and not waiting.
One thing we've learned about generosity or stewardship is to take risk. And sometimes when God calls you to be generous, that it's a risk, and it's actually the more rational thing at times even. And so He might ask you to be incredibly or crazy generous, and that's okay. And it's good to take that risk with the Lord and to trust Him in that. And so my invitation for us today, and I guess for our community, would be, hey, ask the Lord what kind of risk He wants you to take with Him in your generosity.
You know, I sat down over this summer with a bunch of financial people, and I was asking them if they felt their leadership was biblically generous. Overwhelmingly,
one of the main reasons why people struggle financially is because of the decisions they make about the vehicles they drive. It's not uncommon for me to see a family spending more than 30% of their after-tax income going toward car payments. Compounding the problem is the fact that 80% of the vehicles currently financed are now worth less than the amount owed. According to AAA, the average reliable life of a car today is about 13 years and 145,000 miles. However, the average time a new car is driven before it is traded in is about 5 years and 60,000 miles. And it is this difference that creates a huge financial opportunity. For example, let's look at two average couples, Clarks and the Walkers. The Clarks purchased a brand new Honda Accord and they drove it for 4 years. Then they sold it to the Walkers for fair market value. The Walkers drove that same Honda for the next 8 years, and then they sold it for fair market value. Adding up the total cost of ownership to the two couples is very revealing. The Honda cost the first couple over $400 per month to own, but it cost the second couple less than $200 per month to drive the very same car. See, cutting the cost of our vehicles does not mean we have to drive an unsafe or an unattractive car. We can significantly reduce the impact on our budgets by simply driving a good car at the right time. When we drive a vehicle can be more important than what we drive. Keep this in mind the next time you need to replace your vehicle, and your budget will get a much needed shot in the arm.